Preston North End are back. Deepdale's back, bouncing. The season's going to be absolutely all right from this point onwards. To get the review of the Luton game and to look ahead to the Harrogate game and game week 4, we've got our team in place. This is where the North End walk. Preston are back. All right, hands up. Who was it that said that they didn't want Paul Heckingbottom in? Which one of you was it? I can't remember, but we'll go through it all. Welcome back, Etienne, Ash, and Harvey on Royal North End Walk. We're talking about deadline day and asking for what Preston should get in before that deadline closes and what's the best Preston deadline day signing that there has ever been. You can put your answers to that in the comments. Let's jump straight into it with you, Ash. Are you a happy man this week, Ash?
Yeah, I'm actually smiling. Yeah, it was an enjoyable weekend. That.
Absolutely. Etienne, did you deserve those 3 points? The Luton fans saying it should have been a draw.
I mean, you'd like to say we would. I think if you've got to take a hint of salt, maybe it should have been a draw. But we deserve the win. I think we looked a lot better going forward, and you know, to win you have to put your chances away, and we were the only team that did it that day. So.
I'm going to ask all for you who impressed the most. Harvey, I'll start with you. Name a player that stood out for you. For what reason?
Has to be Liam Lindsay. Done it. I think everything that came his way was just either blocked, intercepted, cleared. I'm convinced he's put his head through a brick wall at that point during that game. To be honest, so yeah, he has to be the standout for me. But I will give a nice mention to Freddie Woodman. I think his confidence grew back in that game, which was obviously good to see for probably a lot of Preston fans.
Yeah, I was hoping what he was going to say, old Freddie, because we've given him a bit of stick, haven't we, in the last couple of weeks? Well, you have, I have. Go on then, Ash. Who stood up for you?
I was really impressed with Story, Lindsay as well, but I thought Story's underrated. And I really liked, even though he was playing on the wrong side, Kessler Hayden. He just added some pace, which is desperately needed.
Any more shouts, Etienne?
I was going to say Kessler Hayden. Coming into the window, he was one of the players that I wanted. We got him. I'm going to probably toot his trumpet, throughout the entire season because he's a quality player. I think, even on the left side, brilliant. And he showed it by helping set up the goal.
The Luton fans we spoke to that actually went to the game were, I think, surprised just how loud. Does detail get loud? I don't know. Well, how much the fans were behind the team. Ash, in terms of atmosphere, you've criticised it yourself, I think, on this channel a couple of weeks ago. Was that as good as it's been for a while?
Yeah, it's as good as I remember since maybe Blackpool a couple of seasons. But yeah, it was decent. It was decent for about the last 15, 20 minutes. They were singing Football in the Library for about the first 10. And they didn't make a noise either. So, yeah, it was decent overall.
Okay. Let's talk about the manager then, because, I don't think this result happens, does it, under your previous one. Harvey, what did you notice in terms of tactical changes, formation changes? What were you impressed with?
Well, it seemed quite similar, to be fair. I think obviously, if you listen to him in interviews and stuff, I think he's just very dead set on getting like the basics, back into a Preston side, which I think Ryan Law probably lost over his tenure. So I was just really happy to see, like a solid team that didn't look like they were going to concede much. But then also on the other hand, you look at counter attacks, and there were some moments of play that are really impressive. So obviously, I know we are only one game in, but I think you have to give credit where it's due.
But Etienne, you do this sort of thing for a living, some sports journalism, so you'll probably be watching this very carefully. But what did you make of how Heckingbottom set them up?
It looked a lot more. So a lot of the players were going into about how they did a lot of specialist research on how Luton set up, and it looked like they all had that in mind. There was a lot of, kind of letting them come at us, but being confident to be able to step up and defend. And then the way we counterattacked it was like every time we went forward, it looked like we were going to cause trouble. It wasn't like last season where we were going forward and relying on Liam Miller. There were different ways we were coming at them, exploiting their weaknesses. It just looked like a lot of work had been put into it, and for 4 or 5 days, it's beyond encouraging for the rest of his spell.
Okay, Ash, you're fully behind the manager now. I'm going to presume. No doubts.
I mean, I didn't know much about him, but just from his interviews, from the performance on Saturday, and the interviews after the game, massively impressed. And all the players looked like they wanted to be there for once, which was great. And he actually got the crowd going at one point, which we never would have seen under the previous. So pretty happy.
Let's have a look at some takes from the game then, shall we? Let's start with this one from Jay. Good game to watch that. Harvey, it says end-to-end, got forward with players in the box even when we were winning. Good tactics, good subs. Woodman made some good saves, but I think nearly every midfielder got a yellow. Good start for Hecky, though. Is this a good Preston side that's going to have a bit more tenacity? Did you notice anything around the kind of the dark arts of the game, Harvey?
Well, obviously, I think again in these interviews, I think Heckingbottom stated that he wanted his Preston team to be aggressive, which I think there were a lot of spells where you saw that, players going into challenges, not afraid of the result. I do think the ref gave a few too many cards. I've not watched the Kessler-Hayden penalty appeal in the box, but from my perspective where I was sat, that was a penalty. I think it looks like he is past the defender to cut into the box, and there is a shove. Obviously, like I say, I haven't watched it back, but yeah, it did seem to be a very aggressive side, which I'm more than happy with, as long as we do keep the yellows down in future.
We'll put the credit on Woodman's name again here, Etienne. We've had said enough about him, but yeah, credit's due on this game. Yeah, he was lots of people's man of the match. Was he yours?
No, Lindsay was man of the match for me, but he was very good. He looked. I mean, it's hard to judge a goalkeeper one game after a manager's left, but he had a lot of shots taken at him, and he kept all of them out. There was the bouncing one in the first half where Adebayo put it into the ground. He held firm. He just showed composure. He palmed that away. There was a shot in the second half where it looked like it was going to go in, and you see on the replays he's just palmed it behind. There wasn't like any wonder saves necessarily, but he looked a bit more confident, and you didn't get that dreaded feeling where you see a shot taken at him for 25 yards and go, right, what's he going to do with this one? It felt like he was going to keep it out like the defence were. Not man of the match, but a very, very good performance.
Ash Craig's having a little bit of a pop here, I think. It was a goal scored by the player whose son was going to send to West Brom. West Brom are bidding, aren't they, for Will? Would you sell him?
If we can bring someone in, I would sell him. I don't think he's one of them players where he doesn't seem to do much, and then he just pops up with a goal, which I guess you can't really put a number on how much that's worth. But yeah, if we get the right money and we look to bring a replacement, then I'd be okay with him going.
Yeah, £500,000 is derisory, isn't it?
It's a bit offensive, yeah. Well, I don't think we could ask for anything north of $1 million, though, with a year left on his contract and him being the age he is. Yeah. But I think he got 12 goals last season, which, $500,000 for that is a bit of a rip-off if he's likely to do the same again.
We had a chat with the West Brom fans earlier and told him off from your behalf, don't worry. They're going to go back to the They are skint was their response. And this one, Harvey, I put in because I think it summarised everything. This is from Warren Bennett. Thank you, Warren, for this. Also, a more positive performance. Great for the new management team to start with a winning clean sheet. It's nice to see the manager applaud several times the effort the crowd gave in the final stages to support their team. I'd missed enjoying my football under the last manager. And there was lots of other similar kind of statements about how nice it was to go and watch football again, how much I enjoyed the walk home, how much even people just saying how it's just made their weekend. And people don't mind losing, do they? But do you feel like the fans have got a connection back to Preston again, even in the short space of time that Heck's been there?
I think it's just a positive feeling, isn't it? Which I think obviously has been missed for a really long time. I think obviously Heckingbottom giving credit to the fans for the loudness is obviously something that a lot of people will appreciate. But like I think a lot of people like myself were just happy to see like minor things. Like I was happy to see a manager stood on the touchline for most of the game rather than sulking in his chair. So it's like I say, it's just minor details. But yeah, for me personally, it's a nice feeling to be able to go to a ground of your favourite team and be optimistic about the result for once.
Yeah, because Preston fans are a patient bunch. Crikey, you've been in this league long enough, so but they won't forgive managers, will they? Who don't seem to be making the effort themselves. And I don't know. Ryan Lowe never seemed to have that connection with Preston. Actually, we got that wrong.
No, I think he was more bothered about his brand of football, to be honest, than anything else. It just seemed like everything was in his head. The longer and longer it went on, I think he seemed to care less about it. But the big difference is that I think when Ryan Law left, he said he enjoyed Monday to Fridays but didn't enjoy the Saturdays. And then you get Heckingbottom who comes in and says he looks forward to the Saturdays, the results, the atmosphere, the stuff like that. And that is a massive difference that you want in a manager. And obviously, long may it continue.
Right, thanks, Harvey. Ash, same sort of question to you then. How does it feel now with the weight of Ryan Lowe gone and this fresh dynamic manager in?
Yeah, I feel like the Heckingbottom wants a connection with the fans. Lowe thought we didn't deserve an opinion, and I think number one priority is to ingratiate yourself with the fans when you're new at a club. Also, I want to say I quite like Stuart McCall. He seems like the exact type of guy we need. Someone that gets out on the pitch, isn't afraid to speak his mind. And they were both wearing black trainers and not staring at the shoes the whole game. So that was nice.
Okay, then. All right, let's look at this week then coming up. Then first away, Harrogate away, Etienne. Anyone going to that one? That'll be a new ground for you all. No, I'm giving them a swerve. All right, we're going. Just the 15 fans then turning up for that one. Etienne, could you care less about the Harrogate result? Is it all about Oxford?
Well, I've kind of you want to see some more fringe players come in, especially with Ockles. He hasn't really had a proper chance to shine yet. I'd like to see him start. I was going to try and get tickets, but it sold out before I could even get there, unfortunately. So, I would like to go, and I care because it's Harrogate as a new ground. I'd like to beat him, obviously, but I think the Oxford result is still more important, obviously.
Okay. Would you take a draw against Oxford now, Harvey? Given the way that they've started, they beat Norwich. They've been in both games against Coventry. They were very unlucky not to get a point. Blackburn. You've already heard Blackburn fans a minute ago saying it could have gone either way.
Yeah, they look
tricky on this.
They do look like a strong side. I think obviously it is still quite early doors for Heckingbottom, and I think at this stage in management you do take whatever kind of results you can get. But as long as we play in a specific way, get at Oxford, because they are a team that do seem very aggressive and ruthless and want to get at you. So yeah, to be honest, I would happily take a point, but I am going there with the optimism that we will get through.
Ash, will you take a point?
I was 6 points off the top. I want to win. I think we'll get one as well. I actually think we'll get one. Catch us in sixth place next week.
Okay, right. We will hold you to that. Finally, then, a deadline day, as we mentioned, is closing. Etienne, what do you want to happen before the window shuts?
Left wing back and centre back. It's been the shopping list for quite a few weeks now.
It has, yeah. Same sentence every week. Yeah.
If we sell Will Keane and we can replace him, a striker, obviously. I don't want to be selling a striker and not getting one back.
Okay. It sounds as if some rumblings are happening, though, Ash. But would you, if you get those two players in, you'd be happy with the business that they've done?
Yeah, I'd like the same left wing back, left centre back is crucial. I'd like to see another striker anyway, or possibly another winger, so that we can go with the wingers instead of just playing the wing backs. Gives us more flexibility. But yeah, we need to sort of defence. Even though I'd say Lindsay, Story are fine, I think that left side is definitely weakened.
All right then. We asked you at the start for Preston deadline day signings that have rocked the boat, either positively or negatively. Now, scratching your heads with this one. Anybody got anything? Go on, Harvey.
Has to be Tom Bailey.
Oh yeah.
I think at the time, I think it was a record fee, and I can't remember him playing any more than I think it was about 3 games. It was just an abysmal waste of money, and yes, I think it was just laughable from the club at the time.
Okay. I asked my Preston mate this, and he said Josh Harrop straight away. I think it was a deadline day signing.
Stinker.
From
Harrop
United.
was a personal favourite of mine.
Yeah.
You've got low standards. Yeah.
I'd like to bring up as well. We also signed Anthony Gordon on that January deadline day, which it seems like a fever dream now, considering how good he is in the present day and how not effective he was for us when he was with us. So
yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, if you can beat Anthony Gordon or any of the names mentioned, put a comment below. Thank you all for joining us. We'll catch you next week on Where North and Where Walk. Enjoy your first trip to Oxford.